let's get some input from our businessmen here, and I'd like to hear from both of you in terms of your own company's business across Europe. How's it being affected by the current economic climate, and how is your expansion strategy changing?
Well, I'm in the forestry sector, and forestry has always been a very big part of the Estonian economy, and I think basically the last year has been really, really difficult in Estonia. They've had tremendous problems, and the whole forestry sector turned down. There was a lack of demand from Western markets. Pulp markets were very weak, virtually collapsing, and a lot of key sawmills have really sort of closed there. Stora Enso is one of the biggest operators there. They've closed several mills, and in a way that kind of helped us with one of the smaller operators. We set our mill up in very early in 91, 92, mainly to supply our own requirements, and it had been very successful. We've struggled a lot during the last year, I would say, year and a half, and that's really been for two reasons. One, because of the downturn generally in the timber market. The prices dropped a lot, and it was very, very hard to produce and profitably. We've had to slightly refocus our own production to supply the Dutch market and European markets, because I think with the the currency being locked to the euro and the pound being very, very weak against the euro, it's been extremely difficult for them to compete. So we've managed to keep our mill going, and I think we're a little bit more optimistic now. Prices are recovering, and I think the whole sector is starting to recover a bit. But there has been a severe, I would say, downturn, and a lot of mills haven't survived and have withdrawn from operating there. And it's helped us because now we have the log supply was kind of dominated before by the big operators, and we've been able to now, our small mill has been able to secure supplies from the state forestry for quite a considerable time forward.
What's your outlook for the coming year?
As I say, I think it is recovering. We've had to refocus our production to the European market to sell in euro-based currencies to Holland. But I do see a gradual increase, and I think we're past the worst, and I think you'll see the whole sector starting to come back a bit. Yeah.
How many people do you employ in Estonia?
We've got about in Pärnu, I think we've got about 70, something like that, 70 people there, and we tend to our mill is not a big production mill. We tend to cut fairly specific orders that we require, so we haven't gone for the bulk cheap market, if you like, and we've managed to rather specialise a little bit, and I think that's how we've managed to keep our mill going there.
And Marcus, I know Blue Barracuda has made various investments over the previous years in Estonia. Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about your presence in that market and what led to the decision to put offices there?
I'd like to say it was because some brilliantly thought out strategic plan, but it almost happened by osmosis, I think, in the early days. We started off, we'd had an Estonian guy working for us in London for a number of years who was keen on going home, had an idea about maybe we could get some operations going in Tallinn. Really, I would agree with some of the people around the table in that for us, in the initial days, it was more about skills and cost, certainly, because we saw that, the government's sort of commitment to development of sort of digital within their economy, the skill investment that goes into the IT side within the education sector. And so we saw it as a good route to get talented people in the market. The digital marketing sector in London was growing enormously, and access to talent here was severely restricted. So I think that those were that was our initial view. We started just with a couple of people about sort of 3-4 years ago. We're now up to a team of 12 there across technical and media operations. We're moving to a new office and have plans to expand it to about 20 people over the next 12 months, if not more. And our experience has been extremely positive for the type of people that we can get. Extremely passionate, focused, and skilled people. It has to be said that because it's thus far been a cost centre for us, we've probably been pretty well served by the recent economic downturn, both in terms of some of our key costs, which are the people, and we now are able to recruit people that we wouldn't have even seen CVs for sort of 2 years ago. So we're getting access to the best talent in the market and property at prices that 2 years ago we wouldn't have dreamed of. So our experience in Estonia and linking that up with our London operations has been, I would say, nothing but positive. Nothing but positive. We have a team who are extremely committed, very dedicated, and I think that we're now starting to just have the very initial sort of conversations about how we use Tallinn as a base to expand into sort of the rest of, particularly of Scandinavia, because we would agree that we see Estonia as much closer in sensibility to sort of other Scandinavian countries. So we see that as probably, well, as a possible route for our operations there as well.